Lights on. It's time again. "20 years. We create dream cars, generation after generation. We push ourselves beyond all limits. We take victories and write history.
Three-time champion.
What a great championship.
Together, we go even further. Are you ready? Bring it home. It's dreams that have fueled us across 2 decades.
Sliding through that mark.
Brilliant racing.
It's dreams that have inspired us, empowered us, and driven us to the next level. This is Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, driven by dreams. 2023 starts now.
欢迎大家收看2023年赛季亚洲保时捷凯拉杯第9回合的直播现场，我是本次赛季的主持人 Sammy。这个周末是我们第2次在这次的赛季回到马来西亚雪邦国际赛道进行比赛，想必车手们将会有一大优势，再次回到熟悉的赛道。待会的竞争肯定会更加激烈。Good afternoon, everyone, and we are now in Sepang International Circuit, ready for round 9 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2023 season. I'm your season host, Sammy Hum, and this is the second time in this season that we are back on this iconic track for another round of fierce competition. Let's hear from our pit reporter, Steve Dawson, on this morning's qualifying round.
Sammy, great weather, wasn't it, for the qualifying session? But as soon as that finished, the heavens opened. But as I look above me now, about 50% cloud cover. I think we should be safe in terms of rain for the race. Young Roy Yu, outstanding performance. This is an amateur driver. He's ahead of every one of the Pro-Am drivers on the grid and even one of the professionals. Watch out for his performance. Right at the front, though, it's Florian Latour, 0.8 of a second quicker than his nearest rival, Chris van der Drift. He's qualified well all season, Latour. His problem is getting off the line, so he may not necessarily be at the front by the time we get to turn 1.
Wow, so I think it will be a deal breaker for Florian to see whether he can win it better than the first time he's here in Sepang. So thank you, Steve, and let's throw it back to our commentators.
Thank you, Sammy. Thank you, Steve. John Hindhaugh back in the booth for round 9 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia for 2023, and a delight to be so on this challenging circuit. More about the track and the conditions in a few moments, with the cars heading out of the pit lane onto the grid. It will be a grid start, of course, and that was a problem last time out. Let's take a look back. So, points leader Florian Latour started the race in pole position. Chris van der Drift in second, Lochello in third. It was an awful, awful start for the points leader, who dropped back and lost positions. Chris van der Drift, though, making the best of it early on. Also right up there, one of the guest drivers, Reid Harker, getting up, but he got a 5-second penalty and he'd end up dropping down through the field with that time penalty hanging over him. That was all going on behind Chris van der Drift, who opened the weekend with the full points for the victory. In the second race of the weekend, very similar look to the front of the field, and I'm afraid a very similar problem for Florian Latour. Dropped back down, couldn't get his Porsche off the line. Coming together further back down the field, but at the sharp end of things, it was all action. Championship contenders side by side. The number 11 Florian Latour fighting his way back through the field. Then the Jepson racing car going off in a big way and coming together further down the field, which brought out the safety car. After that, it was down to Luke Lowe just to bring it back home and stand on the top step of the podium.
Thank you, commentators. Now joining me on the track today, we have the Managing Director of Porsche Motorsports Asia Pacific, Mr. Alexandre Gibel. Hi, good afternoon, Alex.
Hello, good afternoon.
So it seems like it's been quite a busy time of the year for Porsche Motorsports Asia Pacific, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Last week we were in GT World Challenge Asia for Okayama. The championship is very close. The season finale will be in 1 month's time here in Sepang, and we are very close in a driver championship, just 1 point behind. Team championship 13 points ahead, so very tight competition, but this is what we like, so yeah, very happy.
Wow, that's very good to hear that. And it seems like a big commitment for the Asia Pacific region as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this weekend you can see that we are here with the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia for Sepang. At the same time, we also have the Thailand Super Series with the Porsche Sprint Trophy Thailand. We have 10 Porsche running this weekend also in Thailand Super Series, so it's great to see. We have pole position for the race today in Thailand Super Series also for tomorrow, so yeah, great stuff.
Wow, back to back. Seems like there's lots of excitement in the few months coming. So what about today's race? Any expectations?
Well, we expect a very, very tight battle. I think now it's clear that for the championship you have 3 drivers who will fight till the end for the overall class with Chris Van Drift, with Florian Latour and Luke Lowe. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I think also in the Pro-Am class it's going to be a tight battle with Bao Jinglong and Zhou Biawang. Unfortunately, Eric Zhong is not here this weekend, and in AM class also I think it's going to be pretty tight. So very much looking forward for the race today and tomorrow. And don't forget, we still have a long way to go before the season finale. We still have Singapore in Formula One in 3 weeks' time, and then the grand season finale in Shanghai. So still a lot can happen, yeah?
Certainly looking forward to that. Feel the same. Thank you so much for your time today. So with that, let us throw it back to our commentators.
I don't know where Alexandre Gibel and his team find the time to do all of that. I think fair to say, along with their partners Top Speed for this particular championship, that Asia Pacific Motorsport is back up and running after the obvious problems of a couple or 3 years ago. What an effort it's been by everyone concerned. All right. Heard Steve talking about the weather earlier on. 40% chance of rain. That's a 60% chance that it will stay dry. Coming up to 30 Celsius in the air. That's pleasant. More importantly, if it does stay dry, is that track temperature. And the Michelin technicians telling us it is 42 Celsius. Even though it isn't full sunshine on the track, that has climbed up around about 10 degrees actually since earlier this morning when we first got to the track. Now there are 3 classes here if this is your first time, and here's how they will line up. It's a Frenchman and a Kiwi on the front row. Florian Latour leading the championship, and Chris Van der Drift. Florian will want to get a better run. Luke Lowe, another championship contender with Martin Ragging, a long-time Porsche driver. Nazim Azman's done a cracking job. And alongside him, the best of the AMs, Zhang Raoyu, Bao Jinlong and Gao Yuzhe, Wao Jiazin and Zhou Biawang battling it out in row 5. On row 6, Li Chao and Hong Shizhe, Li Zhuanyu and Francis Chia in 13th and 14th position. Ju Jiao, Christian Chia in 15th and 16th on row 8 to row 9. Zhang Yuqi and Jackie Wu, who had a little bit of an incident last time out. John Shen and Eric Kwong, 2 of the AM categories at the end. And welcome to Aaron Fung from Earl Bamber Motorsport at the back of the grid. All right, Florian Latour couldn't get it off the line the last couple of times. Let's see if he can do better today.
Florian Latour, used to where he's been all season pretty much. MP1, they've been rocking the car up and down the grid box here just to make sure everything's perfect. 100% record in terms of being the best qualifier every weekend. You must be delighted with your Saturday morning performances this season.
Yeah, for sure. We showed the performance again in qualifying. In practice, we used to work a lot on the starting procedure because last time was a complete nightmare. So let's see how it goes this weekend now for the race.
And in the first weekend at Sepang, you didn't manage to get a win. Are we going to improve that this time?
Yeah, I mean, first race was quite tricky here. So last weekend, now it's a bit different. The track feels different, and then the temp also, it's a lot different compared to last time. So it's same track but different game.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
As we mentioned, not great clutch starts from Florian Latour, the Meidong Racing driver. I should just say, though, that getting these cars off the line is a bit of an art, and he's been practicing this morning at every possible opportunity. He's got Chris van der Drift alongside him. He took his first victory last time out, and the other championship protagonist right behind him, the Toro Racing Low Kalo, and Martin Ragginger, well, he knows his way around Porsches as well. That's your front two rows. Going back to position number 5, great effort in qualifying for the Sima Derby Racing Team, number 17 driver, Nazim Azman. Let's have a word with him now.
Nazim Azman in P5 today and a home country driver. Great to speak to you today. Nazim, you were 6th fastest in qualifying, but are only on P9. So what happened? They pushed you down?
No, I'm 5th. No, I'm starting 5th.
Yeah, but you're oh, I'm sorry, my mistake.
You're
wrong guy. I want to ask you about Martin Ragginger. You're only 1/10 of a second slower. Do you think you can catch him?
You know, qualifying isn't like the races, so we'll see. You know, it's a different strat. You know, it's all about race pace. So hopefully I can, and I want to put a battle with these guys in front.
You must be very familiar with this track. Is that an advantage, do you think?
You know, these guys have been racing, I think, before I was born. So, you know, of course it's nice to be at home. You know, you have that home crowd, as you can see. So hopefully it's okay.
And if it rains today, good or bad?
I don't mind anything. You have to be able to drive in any condition.
Good luck, Nazim.
Thank you.
Coming from this part of the world, you really do have to drive in anything. So the team's beginning to leave the grid now, with the final preparations having been completed. 21 cars on the grid. Let's pick up another one of our pole sitters here.
Joby Huang is in P9. We've got Sammy to help us out with translations here. Got bumped down the grid, Sammy, from P6 to P9. What happened?
就是刚才在排位赛的时候，你的速度原本是第6块的，但是现在你在第9个位置，到底发生了什么呢？
排位赛的时候失定了，然后回来，然后可能影响到了其他的车子吧，然后罚了我三个位置，然后这3个位置。
There's a penalty because when he returned, he probably have blocked a few cars. That's why he's at this position now.
When we were here at the beginning of the season in Sepang, you got second twice. Can we go one better?
那你在开始的，就是赛季开始的时候，在这里比赛，你得了2次第2名，觉得这次的比赛会比上次更好吗？
希望可以，我觉得应该有机会。
Hopefully, that's a great chance.
Good luck.
祝你好运。
There's the hooter for the 1 minute to the start of the formation lap. The teams have done everything that they can. It is now down to the drivers, and here's how they line up. Frenchman and, here's how they are in the championship. Frenchman Florian Latour leading from Low for Toro Racing in second. Just 19 points between them, with Chris van der Drift still very much in the championship battle in third. And notice, by the way, Bao Jinlong in 5th position. He is the best of the Pro-Am drivers. That's an overall classification. So Bao Jinlong with a commanding lead over Zhou Biwang and Eric Zhang, who are only 6 points apart in second and third in the Pro-Am classification. Not a great weekend, with a bad finish in the first race for Zhang Raoyu, and that means his points gap has been trimmed, with Wu Xiaoxing now just 18 points behind in the AM category. The cars off on their warm-up lap, or their formation lap, if you will. By the way, I should mention the prestigious dealer trophy, and that's very tight, just 6 points at the top between Maidong Racing, Toro Racing, and then another 15 points further back in third team, Shanghai Yonder. So only 21 points between the top three in that dealer trophy. All right, off they go. Led by Florian Latour. It's a long track, this. 5.5 kilometres, 3.5 miles. Another track from the imagination that was turned into reality. And of course, brilliant piece of engineering here. 14 corners, a little bit of everything, quite a bit of resurfacing. I think you mentioned this earlier in the season when we were here. Around about turn 7 is turn 10, the Sunway Lagoon corner. And that's, you'll see the slightly different surface. Drivers waving left and right despite the heat. Herman Tilke, the man behind this circuit, and he, as I said, put in a wee bit of everything to test the drivers and the engineers. Fast straights, the unique double-sided grandstand, the Penang straight down the backside of it, the Kuala Lumpur straight down the front, and of course that long run down to the Pakar Laut chicane. That more than 180-degree right-hander that drops steeply downhill. And we've seen down through the years that has been the source of some incident. Watch out as well through 6 and 7. 6 is the long sweeping left-hander into Genting curve at 7. Use the curbs there and you can save an awful lot of time. So just over 21 flat 6 engines kicking off our race weekend here with another race tomorrow. This is round 9 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. 507 horsepower each from the 4-litre flat 6. Normally aspirated. What a classic Porsche engine this is. Recently been announced that it will see duty once again in a road car with the limited Porsche 911 ST. Actually more power than these cars, punched out to over 520 horsepower for the road car. Just over £230,000 in the UK. And no, I'm not on the list, but if someone would like to loan me one. So the last of the runners coming round the final corner. That's turn 15. Waiting for the green flag at the back of the grid. An eerie quiet with the cars just ticking over, descending on the front straight. Been a long hold before the green flag has come out, and our green flag marshal talking to race control on the radio. There is the green flag. Wait for the lights. Find the biting point. Can Florian Latour get his car off the line in the blue and white car? Red lights on, and we're racing. Much better start from the Frenchman. He's side by side with Chris van der Drift as they go down to the first corner, and for once it is the pole sitter Florian Latour who converts his pole position into a lead at the first corner. That's what he couldn't do last time out. Got one of the Toro Racing cars going very wide indeed. That would have been, was that Luke Lowe who was pushed wide, and there's a spinner further down the field. I said we'd have incidents, and there's all kinds of carnage. Yang Yaqui in the second Team Toro car involved there as well. So that has been a drop down through the field. Looked like Wu Jiazin, I think, might have been involved in the number 5 R&B racing car as well. But at the front of the field, importantly for our championship leader, Florian Latour, did get away, and he's pulled away 10, 12 car lengths. It was in the midfield when it all started. 2 cars going wide, and then a big bump. Kitty World racing car in there, Eric Kwong as well. I think everybody's got going again. I'll be able to tell you that as they come through the next turn. Right at the back now, the number 5, Wu Jiazin and R&B Racing, mentioned that car being involved. And there's another car off the circuit and into the gravel trap on the far side of the track. It's one of the C and D cars, isn't it? Yes, it is. That's Hong Shizhe, I think. Yes, it is. Wow. Plenty of incident on this first lap of round 9, and the stewards are going to have to take a look at that. Race control already saying they're going to have a look at that first lap incident. Chris van der Drift was well ahead, got the clutch biting point right this time, and has pulled out an impressive 2.5 second lead. Martin Ragging has come through into second ahead of Nazim Asman, then Bajin Long. He's the first of the Pro-Ams. In 5th, the number 22 is Yang Rao Yu, and he's the first of the AM drivers. So they've come through that schmozzle at the first corner. And the drivers who have dropped back include Florian Latour, the pole sitter who seemed to get the drop at the start, but Van der Drift leading at the end of the first lap. Latour then all the way down in 16th position for Maidong Racing. Nazin Asman in the pink and white car in 3rd, Ragginger in 2nd, and Van der Drift leading overall. So Chris van der Drift, the Kiwi, with the lead. So far ahead, I thought that was our pole sitter trying to look for, and there's another spin in the background. Oh, this is extraordinary. Been Eric Kwong who went around there. Wu Jiazin, by the way, into the pits in the number 5 car after that early incident. Zhang Yaqui, Toro Racing, has not reappeared. Oh, that, in fact, is that car. It looks like there's a problem to the right-hand rear. Hazard flashes are on and still circulating. That's into the final corner. Wu Jiazin, as I said, in the pit lane. They're having a look at the left rear corner of that car. Well, that gives you an idea. Perhaps side-by-side contact there. Horrible news, though, for Florian Latour, and the championship leader, who is way out of it at the moment. Zhou B1 making up positions to 7 last time around. Went past Li Chao on that lap. Luke Lowe also having to come back through. That first corner incident really shuffled the pack, didn't it? Seeing who's all the way at the back of the field. Zhang Yaqui has made it back into the pit lane this time around. That was the secondary pits that we saw him go through. Chris van der Drift has the fastest lap at 2:09.15. 2:07.5 for Martin Ragginger is the race lap record here, set back in 2019. Oh, Toro Racing's Zhang is out of his car. He's not happy. That body language says straight away to me that he feels he was wrong there. That is not a good look for the number 77 Toro Racing driver. It's the battle for third position out there. Also looks like the number 77, yeah, it's front suspension damage. You could see that as it was clocked up. So Yakui or Dennis Zhang out of the race. Plenty of time for Toro, who are a very experienced team, to be able to get that car fixed before tomorrow's competition. So at the front of the field, 3 seconds for Chris van der Drift in the blue and white Team Shanghai Yongda car. Porsche Holdings Martin Ragginger in second in the red and black, the more red car, if that makes sense, red and white if you will, the number 17 Nazim Azman, local driver, podium position at the moment. Bajin Long, best of the Pro-Am drivers, and right in behind him, Yang Roger, who is the best of the AMs. Spin a lap or so ago for the EBM Giga Racing driver Aaron Fung. However, I see that he has got going again. He's just crossed the line. Jackie Wu's dropped out the back as well. I think he was involved in one of those incidents. And we'd mentioned Hong Shizhe in the C&D number 83 car. He dropped way down after running long and going through the gravel. So all action in the first couple of laps in this 10-lap race. Team Jebsen's Gao Yujie looking at the back of Yang Rao BD Group. Not in the same class. That's battling for 5th position though. Behind them also fighting their way back, Luke Hello for Toro Racing. I'm pretty certain Luke Hello was part of that first lap incident where he got eased out. That was a big shake-up. Florian Lato at the moment, last in the pro class and sitting in 11th position, the number 11 car. That's the championship leader. And that is something we need to keep an eye on. He should come through the pack. He's quicker, theoretically, than the cars around him. But that's easy for me to say. Harder for Florian to actually make happen. Team Jebsen's Gao Yujie then, with the pink and white Yang Rao BD Group, one of the Absolute racing cars. Hello to the Absolute team. Been doing great things in all forms of motorsport recently. Ingo Mata runs a very impressive ship indeed. Latour has got damage on the right front of his car. Now, there are radiators in that area of the car just behind the front bumper, but I think he's got away with that. It's just wheel arch damage on the right front. My goodness, whatever that contact was, that's been very lucky indeed. Big lot up coming down to the final corner for the very bright Kiddie World number 23, Eric Kwong. Not his weekend so far in his quest for points in the AM category. I think I said 10 laps earlier on. It is 13 laps here, although we do have a time certain. And now 9 laps to go as we're working lap number 4. Top 3. Well, leader's gone. Chris van der Drift now needs to be saving his tyres and making sure that he's got some performance
later on. It's 4 seconds between himself and Martin Raginger in second. Then 2 seconds back to Nazim Azman. Very much the local driver, making the best use of picking his way through that carnage on the first lap. Still waiting to see, by the way, no messages from race control at the moment. In fact, now just hearing that is going to be looked at after the race. So we will not get any penalties applied before the checkered flag. Best battle on the track at the moment. Bajin Long coming to the line now in the pink and white car with the green numbers. That means that he is a Pro-Am driver, and the white and blue, the very distinctive Jebsen Racing team. Sitting in behind that is Gao Yuge. And these are two drivers who are at the sharp end of their respective classes as far as the championship is running. Bajin Long leading the Pro-Am from Zhu Biwong by 19 points. And behind him, the Am class leader, Yang Raoyu, who has slightly less of an advantage, 18 points to Wu Xiaozin. Side-by-side action, as predictably the Toro racing car starts to fight its way back through the field for Lu Kelo, who's just moved up a position on past Zhou Biwon. That is a position in the overall, but again, not in class. Next little battle is that fourth and fifth battle. So sixth position at the moment for Lu Kelo. Championship leaders have absolutely not come out of this very well. Chris van der Drift will be loving this. Van der Drift in third position in the championship. Side-by-side action. Florian Latour trying to make up another position. That's the number 9 car, Li Chao for Team Better Life in the orange, black and white car. Again, that's an overall position, but he's got to try this, Florian. He's got his way back up to 10th position. We'll go down the inside here. Gets that one done. It's the final corner coming up, which is a left-hander. So he should be able to outbrake the Team Better Life car as he goes across the top of that little rise in the middle of the corner and back onto the pit straight. Chris van der Drift is 35 points behind Florian Latour, but only 16 points behind Lu Kelo in the championship standings at the moment in the overall. And at the moment, both of those drivers are down the field. So this could be a very good race and a good points haul for Chris van der Drift. And he's driving immaculately at the front of the field. Latour still trying to make up positions. Making this look very easy indeed. 2:09.0 for Chris van der Drift, which is the fastest lap of the race. He's eased his pace a little bit by about 3/4 of a second. No need for him to be pushing that hard at the moment. Nazim Azman from the Sima Dhabi racing team, a very creditable third position for the local driver. Knows this place very well indeed. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Bajin Long. Coming to the final corner now, leads Pro-Am. He's got a bit of a gap now to Yang Raoyu. Yang Rao-Yu in the pink and white car was right up the tailpipes of the number 718. But perhaps, again, realising that this is about the championship for him in the AM class, those are the cars with the green numbers, maybe he realises he doesn't have to push that hard. Hoving into view behind Yang is Lucailo. For Toro Racing, still recovering in that dark grey and chrome crimson machine. Just trying to work out as well in my very small brain, this is going to do to the dealer trophies as well. Maidong Racing led that by a scant 6 points from Toro, with Team Shanghai Honda 15 points further back. So Chris van der Drift doing well for himself in the championship, but also for the dealer trophy. And Team Shanghai Honda. Half distance, round 9. Just to reiterate that incident at the start of the race, Nazim Asman involved. He's in 3rd at the minute, Florian Latour in 9th. And the number 99 all being looked at after the race. Locailo, the 3rd driver, involved there. Yeah, I think the 188 was in there as well. Li Wanshu for Z-Speed, Motorsport, and Wu Jiazin as well, all being looked at after the race. So there'll be no penalties applied before the checkered flag. If there are any, anyone is found at fault, we'll let you know in our race coverage tomorrow. But at the moment, we are racing, and what you see on the timing stack is how they stand. 5.3 seconds now between Van der Drift and Raginger. Great to have Chris and Martin back in the championship, Florian Latour as well. Amazing to think that Chris van der Drift only took his first victory this season last time out, but his consistency has kept him in touch with the championship leaders, and this win with the other 2 championship runners at the top of the standings, well down the field, that is going to be a really good result for Chris, and we'll move him up through the championship. John Shen and Christian Chia battling. John in that flame-coloured Modena Motorsports number 16 car, and right in behind him with the Maple Leaf of Open Road Racing, Christian Chia. John, one of a number of drivers who have been plying their trade outside of the Asia-Pacific region. Been doing a bit of racing in Europe earlier on this year. I was talking to him at Spa for the Creventic Endurance Series. Spin for the number 22, and that is Yang Rao-Yu, leader in the AM class. Now he's got that car going again, the pink and white BD Group machine. The question for me is, how far has he dropped back? He's got a great gap, because it's all the way down to the number 188 of Li Xuanyu, and that was just a mistake by the AM class leader. Keep an eye on the Z-Speed car and where that car has dropped down to. I think it's just a couple of cars back now. Coming into the final corner, let's take a look. Where is the 188? 2 cars back. It's the orange and white cars. They come to the line. There's 2 orange cars behind that pink and white machine. The one in the middle is not in that AM fight. And that is the number 9 of Li Chao. But that is a huge mistake for that Team Better Life car. Excuse me, for the BD Group car, Team Better Life, and then the Z-Speed. Those are the three cars battling. Now, meantime, Team Jebsen, Gao Yujie, with Florian Latour right up his tailpipes at the front of the field. Chris van der Drift has stabilised his gap at around about 5.7 seconds. And it has taken no time at all for Florian Latour to get through on the number 55 Team Jebsen driver, Gao Yujie. Now that is a class position as well as an overall position. So that's really significant for that black, blue and silver car, the number 11. After that early incident on the first lap through turns 1 and 2, good side-by-side pass on the far side of the circuit coming up to the lake turn. Meanwhile, the battle in the AM class has Yang Raoyu regained composure. I think they have. Lap times looking good again after that spin. Completing lap 10 of 13. Delighted to see no intervention required from our safety car. Van der Drift has gone through. His lead's increased another 0.3 of a second last time around, although his pace is still impressive. It's a couple of seconds, it's almost a full second rather, away from his best lap, but he's still the only driver out there in the 2:09s. Everyone else 2 minutes 10 and slower. So Van der Drift not easing his pace that much. That's impressive, you know. 2:09 flat is his best time, absolute best time. Whilst he's just turned a 2:09.9. 2:09.8 actually, to be pedantic. Bajinlong leads in the Pro-Am category, 4th position overall, just off the overall podium. We've seen this before from Bao. And this is good news for his championship aspirations as well. Luke Hello hoving into view behind. That isn't a class battle. Always spot the different classes by the different coloured numbers on the front and rear screens. White is the Pro class. And that is the class of the Toro racing machine. 5th position, 4th in class, of course, for Luke Hello. Florian Latour next up is 5 seconds further back. So those two championship contenders, I'm not sure are going to get any further up the field, respectively. So Chris van der Drift is going to take a whole host of points away from him. He crosses the line now on the other side of the grandstand from the pair that we are watching coming down to the final corner. Still 2:09.9 last time around for Van der Drift. 2:10.2 for Raginger in second, 2:10.7 for Nazim Asman. Now this could be an important battle, although they are not in the same class. Li Chao, Team Better Life, with the red number on his orange, black and white car. And the orange and white car behind is the 188. That is Li Shenyu. Second at the moment in the AM category with the bright green numbers. But one car further up the road is the class leader. That being Yang Raoyu. After that spin, remember, or half spin. Chris van der Drift will be wondering where everybody's gone out there at the moment. Probably singing himself a little song, maybe reciting some poetry. Got to keep his concentration though. Hot conditions. Temperatures on the track well into the 40s. And in the car, it'll be way hotter than that. Even though this is a rear engine car. still plenty of heat inside a racing car. Remember, you've got your special fireproof underwear, then a 3-layer race suit, balaclava, helmet, gloves, boots, wrapped in a seat that almost is like putting a tight jacket on with your hands devices well over your shoulders. Quite claustrophobic in a race car. And when it's hot in particular, very easy to lose your concentration, and just losing that concentration for a moment, probably enough to miss your braking point and send you off the track. Closing stages then for Chris van der Drift. Got the car off the line nicely. Profited from the incident that took Florian Latour all the way into the mid-teens. Luke Hello involved in that as well as they went through turn 1, pushed each other wide. The almost inevitable incident, turn 1, lap 1. Martin Raginger in second for Porsche Holding. Hasn't had the pace. And he'll take that second position, Nazim Asman. Sima Derby Racing Team will be on the third step of the box. Our class leaders, soon to become winners. Bajin Long in fourth position for Pro-Am. And despite that slight loss of concentration in the half spin, the number 22 of Yang Raoyu for BT Group come home in 9th and win the AM category. More points for his championship charge. Well, up until the last round, Chris van der Drift had not won this season. You know what they say, once you get one win, the rest of them come, and that's certainly been the case here. Van der Drift, just a couple of corners to go now as he points the number 8 Team Shanghai Honda down the Penang Straight to the final corner, all the way to the right-hand side of the road before he swings in left-handed over the top of that very banked middle part of the corner and out onto the front straight where the checkered flag waits and waves, and Van der Drift wins it for Team Shanghai Honda, easing off on that last lap. I think that's the first lap in the whole of the race that he was over 2 minutes 10, and it was only a 2 minutes 10-1, nearly 7 seconds at the line. Coming out the final corner, drag race to the line. Lokelo on driver's left will sneak another position on Bajin Long. That's not a class position though, so that's still only 4th place points for the Toro Racing driver. Bajin Long comes home 5th and takes the Pro-Am category. I'm waiting to see Florian Latour come home. There he goes. Maidong Racing in 5th. Gao Yujie in 6th in the pros. In Pro-Am, it's Zhou Biwang in 2nd behind Bajin Long. And in the AM category, Yang Ruoyu, 9th position, almost spun that away. And Li Xianyu for Z-Speed Motorsport will come home in 2nd, and Modena Motorsport's John Shen on the podium in 3rd position. Who did I not give you there? Ah, yes, Li Chao, Team Better Life, 3rd in Pro-Am. There are your podium finishers then for race number 9 of the 2023 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia here at Sepang Raceway. A convincing, not to say dominating, victory after that first lap incident from Chris van der Drift, the New Zealander, stamping his authority. Took his opportunity when it arose on that first corner and has turned that in to maximum points. Fastest lap as well, by the way, 209.015. Wu Xiaojin, Dennis Zhang and Hong Shizhe not making the end of the race. So work to do for Team C and D, RB Racing, R&B Racing and Toro Racing on those 3 cars. Perhaps not the fight we were hoping for at the front of the field, with 2 of the faster cars shuffled down early on, but that has closed the championship up a little bit. Luke Lowe has taken points out to Florian Latour at the top, and taking points out to both of them, and significant numbers, Chris van der Drift. He'll peel off into the pit lane. Steve is waiting to speak to our 3 class winners in the heat of the pit lane. Sometimes it is rather better to be in the commentary booth. Van der Drift just being waved to the front of the queue. He did quite a slow in-lap to be greeted by Team Shanghai Yongda. It's a happy team and a happy driver. Results, these are provisional, of course, until post-race tech is done. 7 seconds the gap between Van der Drift and Ranginger. Nazim Asman in 3rd. Luke Halo fights his way back to 4th overall and in class. Bai Xinlong for Zhongtang Auto wins in the Pro-Am class, and Yang Rao for BT Group wins in the AM. The big story: Luke Lowe and Florian Latour involved in an early incident through the first and second corners of the first lap, and having to fight back through. The championship concertina's up. Martin Ranginger, 4th in the championship standings, coming home 2nd here. Still plenty of races to make up points if the top 3 have incidents, and we have seen today a perfect example of just how that can happen. Steve has found his way to the front of Parc Fermé. Here's Chris van der Drift.
Our overall winner, Chris van der Drift, is with me. We'll talk about the start in a moment, Chris, but the pace you had once you got in front, you just kept extending and extending. You must be delighted with that.
Always have a race like that's pretty good. To have no one sort of breathing on your backside trying to pass you, and yeah, like another good start. So we've been having good, except for the one in Suzuka where I made a meal of that one. All the rest have been really good. So that was again another very good start, and car was just good. I could just drive away and not do anything stupid, and then come home with a nice big lead.
I mean, what was it? More an exceptional start from you? Because Florian clearly struggled a little bit off the grid. There was a mixture of the 2, I guess.
Yeah, I think my start was good. His was bad, and then it just looked better, I suppose, overall. But it's good. He keeps having bad starts. That's what we need. I keep having good ones, so hopefully I can do that again tomorrow.
Would you know where you're qualifying tomorrow?
2nd as well.
Beautiful.
Well, so.
Confident?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think we got a good groove going now with the car, and since Thailand, definitely we found some speed, and with myself too. So no, really good, good points.
Have a great time up there on the podium.
Thank you.
Just wonder whether starting in 2nd might not be actually a bit of an advantage. Is it the clean or the dirty side of the track? Is it used more? Hard to know, really. But it worked there for Chris van der Drift. I thought Florian had a slightly better start than he did a couple of weekends ago. Right, let's pick up some of the other class winners. Bai Xinlong next.
Bai Xinlong, another incredible performance from this Pro-Am driver. Looks like you just got nicked on the very last lap. Take us through what happened there.
Yes, the last of my car performance today is not very well, so it's very tough to drive. But we are lucky. We finished the race and won the class champion.
But your pace was really good, particularly in the early stages. I mean, you qualified well. Must be delighted with this first race of the weekend.
Yes, in the qualifying, I did a mistake and not did very well, but I see my data, I can get a big gap to improvement. So we see tomorrow.
Where are you qualified tomorrow?
Last one.
Where on the grid are you tomorrow?
Yes, the last one.
Right at the back.
Yeah, because I do the mistake in the qualify, go outside, go to the gravel.
At least enjoy today then.
Oh yes, sure. Thank you.
Tomorrow's qualifying set with the second fastest lap from the single qualifying section that we had earlier on the day, and Ba Jinlong not getting a second fast lap because he ended up in the gravel. Hence, he will have to fight his way through. That's going to be entertaining for us and tiring for him. Did lose an overall position, as Steve said there, to Liu Kei-lo, but still won his class. Okay, let's move on to our AM winner.
Yang Ruoyu can afford to spin and still win in his category. First of all, how did you get off the track? How did that spin happen?
Yeah, I lost my rear tire. Yeah, because when the qualifying session, I destroyed my both set of front tires, so I have to keep one of rear tire for tomorrow race. So I used too much rear, then I lost it. Yeah.
It seemed like you had to wait in the gravel quite a bit for the traffic to clear before you could rejoin the race.
Yeah, my gearbox was stuck. Okay. Yeah, I have to shift gear and down gear several times. Yeah.
But well done. You managed to stay in the lead all the way to the end, even having come off. You must be pleased with the performance.
No, actually, I didn't satisfy with my race today. I have to say sorry to my whole team members. I lost my P4 or P5 overall. It's an unbelievable result for the whole season, but I miss it.
It was a great qualifying round. Where are you on the grid tomorrow, do you know?
I think seventh, I think.
Good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
And you could hear in the voice there just how hard Yang Ruoyu had worked. Well, what an interesting start to the race. Off pole position, Florian Latour looked to get a decent start in the darker blue machine, but by the time they got down to the first corner, he was in the middle of the sandwich and was pushed out from the inside by Martin Ragginger into Liu Kei-lo. Those were the two cars that went wide as they came back on. There was further shenanigans down the field, which took out ultimately Hong Shizhe, Wu Jiazin and Dennis Zhang. None of those cars making the end. It was left to the championship leaders to fight their way back through the field and try and minimise the points loss. Also a spin early on for Aaron Fung, who did rejoin for Earl Bamber Motorsport Giga Racing. Eric Kwong was off the track at the final corner. The story of that one was driving back through the field for Latour and Liu Kei-lo at the front of the field. Even Martin Ragginger in the red and black number 86 had no pace to counter what happened at the front. Almost giving away the victory, Yang Ruoyu in the back rails in the gravel. That allowed Li Zhenxu to come up and challenge for a moment. But 7 seconds at the line tells the story. Chris van der Drift closes on the two at the top of the championship, and he'll be hoping for more of the same tomorrow. Van der Drift, Ragginger and Nazim Azman on the top step of the overall podium. In the classes, Ba Jinlong takes Pro-Am and Yang Ruoyu in the Am categories. 2 race wins in 2 weekends now for Chris van der Drift and the New Zealander on a fine run of form, and with still 5 rounds to go tomorrow here first up, and then Singapore with the Grand Prix, the F1 Grand Prix, and then the season finale at the end of October, Shanghai. Still plenty of points to be won, and as we saw today, I mean, that could have been worse, let's be honest. That Could have been much worse, even for Luke Hello and Florian Latour. They actually finished 4th and 5th out of 6 cars. Gaulier, the only pro car behind them. But at least no damage, so those cars will be back for tomorrow's race. Formalities to come. Thank you for joining us on our live free broadcast. We'll be back to do it all again tomorrow. And hopefully you will join us again.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium presentation for round 9 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2023 in Sepang. Now, let's invite the winners of round 9 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2023 in Sepang for the overall class. On the 3rd place, we have number 17, Nasib Matsman from Sepang Racing Team. And on 2nd place, we have driver number 86, Martin Rakica from Porsche Holding. And a champion for overall class, we have driver number 8, Chris Vanderdrift from Team Shanghai Yongda. And the dealer trophy winner goes to Team Shanghai Yongda. And now I would like to invite the Chief Executive Officer of Sime Darby Auto Performance, Mr. Christopher Hunter, to present the winner trophy. And now the 2nd place trophy. And now the 3rd place trophy. And the dealer trophy as well. Now may I invite Mr. Christopher Hunter to join our winners on stage for a group photo. All right, let's look in front of the cameramen. They are all in the middle. There you have it. Thank you again, Mr. Christopher Hunter. And it is time for champagne. Congratulations once again to our winners for the overall class. And on 2nd place, we have driver number 2, Joey Hua from Porsche Beijing Central and Golden Port. And of course, the winner of the Pro M class goes to driver 718 Bao Jinlong from Zhengtong Auto. And now I would like to invite the Managing Director of Porsche Motorsports Asia Pacific, Mr. Alexandre Gibon, to present the winner trophy.
Well done. Thank you.
And now let's have Mr. Alexandre Gibon to join our winners for a group photo session. All right, let's look at our cameras. Get ready. 1, 2, 3.
Be a little bit disappointing. He lost an overall position in the end, but still gets the points that are important. Okay, last but by no means least, the AM class. And another driver, I think, who will be fairly happy and a little relieved, Yang Rao for BD Group. He was, I mean, a super run up in the top 4 or 5 early on. And here come their celebrations.
Driver number 16, John Shen from Motorsport. Let's give it up for John Shen. And on second place, we have driver number 189. The award presenter, who's the director of Motorsport Michelin Asia Pacific, Mr. Ben Ma, to present the winner trophy.
On the top step of the podium, and we'll be back tomorrow to do it all again. Will those winners repeat, or will they be challenged? Make sure you join us via Facebook and the Porsche Asia Pacific Motorsport channels. I'm John Hindhaugh for the whole team here at the circuit and further afield. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again at Sepang tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
Lights on. It's time again. "20 years. We create dream cars, generation after generation. We push ourselves beyond all limits. We take victories and write history.
What a great championship.
Together, we go even further. Are you ready? Bring it home. It's dreams that have fueled us across 2 decades. It's dreams that have inspired us, empowered us, and driven us to the next level. This is Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, driven by dreams. 2023 starts now.